Welcome back to Hot Rod Guy Garage. This can be another episode of the 65 Mustang. So follow on with me through intro, and I'll be back. Alright guys, it's been another week, and it's time to start working on this 65 Mustang again. So, as you remember from our last video, we got in the sealer. The sealer's cured out. I went through and I marked some of the major bad spots that may need more heavy fill than others. So that's what we're going to start addressing today. So let me flip the camera around and I'll show you a few things. And alright, I went in here and just kind of marked some of these places that I've seen. There are some of these places that I fixed that are going to have to be addressed. Some of them are going to need more base than others. But the thing is here, I'm going to have to scuff this epoxy primer down to be able to put filler over top of it. So what I'm going to start with, we'll patch these quarter panels back in right here. I'm going to go in here with a product that I've had really good results with on weld seams, which is USC's all metal. This is an absolutely waterproof filler. There is no chance for water to get behind this or moisture to create from it. Had real good luck with that. And that's what I'm going to use for some of these heavy fill spots. And that's what we're going to address today. So places like that patch down there, when I say heavy fill, I'm not talking about a ½ inch of filler here, guys. I'm talking probably less than 1/8 of an inch in some of these places. But that's what I'm going to use as the base, and then we'll go back with it with some more filler. And I'm going to do a little more metal work on some places like this. We'll see where we get. So the main goal here at this point is whatever products we put in here need to be high quality at this point so it doesn't have issues like it had before. So any place where it's going to be a little thicker, I'm going to use the all metal, and ultimately we'll skim it with the other filler that I have. We'll probably end up skimming the whole car and blocking it out from there. But there's some other issues I need to show you that I found up here in these front fenders. And they're going to be addressed either in this episode or another episode. So in an effort to try to save him a little bit of money, we were entertaining fixing these fenders. And I talked about before replacing them. Well, I started digging around here. You can see that right there, and I put my finger there. There's a cut in this metal and it's underlapped here, and there is absolutely no weld, but there is quite a bit of body filler here. And this was done whenever whoever put this antenna in here, as you can tell it was roughly kind of taped up around it, and we got this crappy gray primer. Eyeballing the hood, don't look like it's got much if any filler in it at all. The hood looks actually pretty decent on this car. But you can see our fenders, they're pretty bad too. And under that Bondo that was on that chip spot out of the paint, which you can still see it there, I kind of dug around the outside edge of it here, and we got a little blob right here too. So there's no telling what's hid under the rest of this stuff. We are going to address it. I am going to probably end up painting the whole car at this point, but I'll have to take all this stuff off and get this thing blown apart a little further before I can get this paint off. I want to get this roughed in back here before I start on this. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take some 120 grit here. I'm just going to scuff this epoxy primer till I break the gloss on it all down through here, and then I can start filling in. Alright, and it's a little while later, and I've got some of this mostly roughed in, so I'll flip it around. Alright guys, where I thought the filler may be a little thicker, I went ahead and rough filled with this all metal. Now keep in mind, while it looks like it's super mega thick in here, it's really not, because you can start seeing metal through here. And some of these little divots and stuff, it's where I had to go with multiple coats, because what I had on my board was drying. So I've got this kind of roughed in, it's ready to skim coat. In fact, the whole quarter on this side is ready to skim coat with filler, and we can block it out. Should be able to body work it. But I went ahead and hit all these places where I thought it might be thicker than 1/8 of an inch. So I went ahead and pre-filled those. This the roof, And this side's still kind of tacky. I'm waiting on it. I got it pre-skimmed there along with that top of that quarter. So what doing that does, by me going ahead and doing my initial fill with that all metal, that stuff dries like rock hard. It's also waterproof. It makes a real good base to finish the rest of your bodywork off of. So that's what I'm doing. Uh, I'm sure I'll have to break it back out and make some more up, and we'll catch that later in this video or maybe another one. But I'm trying to get to the point where I can start the bodywork phase. There is more than plenty enough bodywork to do on the car, and not a whole lot of time to do it. So I've been working along. I got the quarter panel skim coated and kind of roughed in. There's a couple little small little pinholes I need to go in and hit. When you skim coat a panel, okay, like this quarter panel, you don't want it thick. We're not coating this car with filler to make it thick. We're coating it to make it arrow straight. So I'll flip it around and I'll show you where I'm at. I've got to mix some more filler up, like I said, hit a couple little low spots. I sand it until it gets almost transparent. And here in a little while, I'll actually take a drill in the thick spots and I'll show you how not thick it actually is. So, like I said, I skim coated it. I hit some of the bare metal spots with a little primer. But some places that were really bad, even though I worked them out some more like this was more me spreading than actually thickness. We got most of our transition here worked out. Got most of our front of our door worked out. I've got to hit the edge a little bit. But what skim coating this panel does will give me a chance to get these lines very crisp and the car very straight. So I know I didn't yesterday, but what we're using for a filler is USC's Featherite. It's a pretty good spreading stuff. It's very easy sand, very lightweight stuff. So I'm going to hit these other little places and I'll come back and I'll show you a couple of tricks to work on making these lines like they're supposed to be. And like I said before, like it looks like it's a lot, it's really not. And I'll show that to y'all here in a little while also. I'll actually take a drill up there in that roof transition. We'll drill through the thickest spot and we'll measure it. Well, we're pretty good and roughed in. There's a couple of places that still need to be addressed, and I'm going to go back there and do them now. But we're coming along pretty good. I'm getting pretty happy with what the quarter works, the way it feels. Part of it, guys, sometimes you have to go back in and do a few things. Got a couple of high spots in the metal here, but don't feel like they're going to be an issue. I won't know until I spray something over it and look at the reflection. But let me address these couple of small spots and I'll be back. Alright, guys. I'm going to show you how thick this actually is right here. I think everybody can agree that the transition from the roof into the quarter at the lowest spot, like right here, should be the thickest portion. And what I done, I just drilled a little small hole right there. I know it's not going to want to focus, but you can see metal right there. With filler, you always want to stay, I like to keep it no more than a 1/4 inch. And what we have here is 88.5 thousandths. So it's not mega thick. It's definitely not a 1/4 inch. And that should be the thickest portion there. Reason why I done that, I gotta go down here and fix some more stuff. I'll come in here and we'll fix that because I got a couple little pinholes in my filler. So I'm gonna address that, address this little high spot right here, and then I'll be back. And a lot of you probably think I'm crazy for doing that. Why would you drill a hole in the filler? Well, because I know the way I'm doing this car, I'm going to have at least 1 or 2 people jump in the comments and say this full of Bondo. So I'm going to take the thickest portions, and I'm going to do that just to verify, show you that it don't always have to be mega thick, even what you're doing it over is ugly. You just got to work your material. And I don't know if the fans are unreliably loud in here or not on the video, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to mix up a little more filler. And not a whole lot. But just enough to cover. Now, usually on a little blob like that, I will run about about 1 inch worth of hardener. And you don't want to swirl this stuff up, you want to work it into the filler. Alright, so what I done, I sprayed some Transtar 2-in-1 aerosol primer on this, just temporarily, just to seal this off, because it's going to take a little while to do the rest of the bodywork on the car. And I did go ahead and go in here and guide coat this, because when I scuff this down to do a high build primer, I'll be able to see any issues that need to be addressed first. So what I sprayed on there is this Transtar 4603. It's a 2-in-1 primer, so it is a primer slash sealer. And like I said, I done that just to keep any kind of moisture or anything out of it. And I could blow a little kind of guide coat over top of it, so when I scuff it, I can see any issues that need to be addressed. Now I know it probably looks mega wavy in the video, but we spray it with spray can. So those little tiger stripes make stuff look bad. But the point is, I got to get it sealed off, get these doors, roof, trunk lid, body worked. Then I can tape it off and spray some real primer on it. This is just temporary stuff. Alright, now moved on to the door here. I skimmed this whole top section because it had a wave in it, you can see in the reflection. Down here in the middle, in the cove area, we just had a little bitty tiny spot up here at the front and one of them little dents I pulled out right there. So I'm going to try to work this section without skimming the whole center and seeing how it comes out. And of course down here at the front where we had our patch, I'll probably end up skimming the whole bottom section right here, but I'm going to see how this works out on its own. But if you were building a show car, you would want to skim the whole door and then block sand across from your quarter to your door and from your door to your fender. What I'm doing here, I am sanding across on the fender on the front side, because I've not made a decision what we're doing here yet. But the quarter, it fits reasonably well, and considering this is going to be a daily driver type project, it don't have to be 100% perfect, but we're going to try to get it good and straight. Alright guys, now I could have loaded this thing full of filler and then sanded it out. Doing it the way I'm doing it means that you may have to go back in there and fix a few little small spots, but I didn't want to end up having this car just slap full of filler. So basically what I'm doing when I go in here and do this, and it looks like there's a bunch of filler in the car, I'm sanding about 95% of that out. Just part of it. You add more than you need, and then you pull it out. You know what I mean? You sand it out. And what I'm using to work the filler, I'm knocking it down at first with a 40 grit until it starts to get smooth, and then I move to an 80 grit. And then when I'm happy with it, I'll move to 120 grit. So this way I've found works pretty good. And when you end with 80 or 120, if you use a high build 2K type primer, it'll go in there and you lay it good and heavy. It'll fill in sand and scratches and give you a lot of blocking area. So when I say go back in there, and what skimming the panel does, as you can see the filler here, you got dark spot and you got metal. Skimming that with that filler will eliminate this, like I did up here at the top. Now there's still a few little higher spots up here, but we're not worried about it being a show car. Like I told you before, I'm just trying to straighten these panels up best I can and make him a nice driver quality car. So I had to go back in there, I had a little place right here, I had a little dot right there, and I had a little bit more there because I had just one little tiny low spot right there. So I re-skimmed it. And as you can see, our fender up here, I popped these emblems off. Good thing is there's no filler up here. Bad thing is it's got a big old low spot right here. And they sure didn't know what they were doing with these holes. Not only are in the wrong place, they should be over here. Yeah, next time we gotta get rid of, these. Yep, that's the next thing to go. I know that'll make a lot of people happy. That's gotta go. So, at least once the GT289 jumps off. May have a little surprise later in this episode. I may come up with something to solve some of his issues, but I'm going to continue working this filler once it, like I say, I call it lighting off. Once it's cured, I'll start working it back down, and then I'll be back when we move on a little further. Alright, got the rocker panel skim coated. I'm waiting on it to dry up enough where I can hit it with the airfoil. If anybody's curious, what I'm using to work this down initially is this old school airfoil. These work really good as long as you know how to work them. Just like a DA, you can make something not flat with a flat file. But that's what I'm using to initially break the Bondo down with 40 grit Green Corpse disc on it. And that's what I'm fixing to do, is lay down here on the floor. As soon as that stuff dries where it's good and tacky, I'm going to knock it off while it's still kind of soft and knock some of the roughness off. And like always, guys, like I've been telling you, it looks like a lot, and it is a lot right now. But I'm sanding like 90% of this stuff back off. As you can see over here and up here. So don't be scared to skim coat something to get it straight, because usually initially, like I showed you up there on this pillar, it ends up not being very thick at all. But you end up with a lot straighter panel altogether. And since we're deleting them rocker panel moldings, and I welded up a bunch of holes and fixed those 3 dents that were in this, it'll be a good way to straighten it up and make sure we got a good straight rocker panel. So until then, guys, I'm going to let this take up a few more minutes and then I'll be back. Well, guys, it's been a full past couple of days. Now, I didn't get to work on that rocker anymore. No owner of the car showed up. I had something else dropped off out here. Now, I got another project. And I got it maybe kind of help him out on this. So let me flip around and I'll show that to you. So it don't look like much, but it's really a much better car than what we started with the other one. What we have here is a 66 coupe that's actually a fairly solid old car. It's been sandblasted on the outside and primered, so everything you see is honest in there. Unlike the hack job car, what you see here is what is exactly there. So, and it's got some holes in the toe boards. Got a little rust in the back floor, but overall not a bad car. So, kind of a surprise in this video. Now, that is mine. That is not his car. Obviously, I bought it cheap or I wouldn't have bought it. But I wish we would have found that car before we started on this one, because that would have been a lot better base to start with, because it's an honest car. So let me know down in the comments below what you think about that one and what I should do with it. I was kind of thinking, kind of patina, road race car, or, something along that lines. I don't know. I've been wanting to build something like an asphalt stalker for a while. That car kind of fits the bill. But until the next time, guys, if you could, hit that like button on this video, share it with your friends. Most importantly, if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button, because 70% of my viewers are not subscribers. And it don't cost anything, and it's free. And it does help the channel to grow. So, until next time, guys, there will be another video probably midweek on this 65 hack job, because I am going to continue doing bodywork next week on it. Till then, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.